So you want to know how 3D Pokemon games evolved? Let's go. Pokemon first appeared as 3D models in the Japan-only game Pocket Monsters Stadium, released in 1998 for the Nintendo 64. This game is a battle simulator where oddly enough only 40 of the 151 Pokemon could be used in battle and the rest were only viewable in the Pokédex. The sequel, which did make it outside Japan, Pokemon Stadium, fixed this problem and allowed for all 151 Pokemon to be used in battle. This game would be followed up by Pokémon Stadium 2 at the end of the console's lifespan and gave 3D models to the Johto Pokemon. The other 3D Pokemon games to the Nintendo 64 were Hey You Pikachu and Pokemon Snap. These games had the Pokemon moving in 3D environments with the player being able to interact with the Pokemon. There was never a 3D Pokemon adventure on the Nintendo 64. It almost seems like Game Freak only wanted to show how Pokemon looked like in 3D, so that if anyone wondered how they looked in 3D, they would now know. The GameCube shows players what a 3D Pokemon adventure could be. Pokemon Colosseum was a massive improvement in terms of 3D visuals. It was a proper 3D Pokemon adventure unlike the Stadium games. The biggest changes are that the battles are now all double battles and there are no wild Pokemon. You do catch the newly introduced Shadow Pokemon, which you steal from other trainers using the snagging machine, but the Shadow Pokemon you catch are always the same on repeated playthroughs, leading to less variety in the player's team. Colosseum did get a sequel, which was more of the same thing. No big improvements were made, really, to the 3D visuals. The GameCube didn't have that many other Pokemon games. The only other two games were side games, which didn't push the series forward in any way. The Wii and DS era was really a step forward. You would think that Diamond and Pearl would be in 3D since the DS could play 3D games, but for the most part the game was still in 2D. Some objects and background elements like houses were in 3D, but I don't think the developers were ready to go full on 3D with the DS, so instead they spent their time improving the visuals for later Pokemon games. When Black and White came out, the developers did finally create a nearly fully 3D overworld. The characters, the Pokemon, and some objects were still 2D sprites, but this was really a step in the right direction for Pokemon. Meanwhile, on the Wii, Pokemon Battle Revolution was more of a step back the way the series came from. It was basically Pokemon Stadium, now in widescreen with more detailed battle arenas. There's little content outside the battles, and I think most people choose to forget about this game. At least there was Poké Park Wii, which, believe it or not, was quite an influential game for the series. This 3D action-adventure game has an open world to roam around in, kind of like Super Mario 64. It uses a third-person camera perspective, which I think is a first for the series, and it wouldn't be long before other games in the series would try that as well. In 2013, Pokémon X and Y released, being the first mainline 3D Pokémon games. The game's titles were clearly chosen to point out the 3D, since X and Y are axes used when talking about dimensions in geometry. This game brought the series into full 3D. All the Pokémon have 3D models during and outside of battle, so do all the characters and objects in the overworld, though the same can't be said about trainers during battle. From this point, Pokémon will remain in 3D outside of some spin-off games and re-releases. Sun and Moon worked on improving the visuals and 3D models to bring more life to the characters and Pokemon. Now we have the Nintendo Switch, which has been pushing Pokemon further than it ever has been. The Switch is far more powerful than the 3DS and allows for more possibilities than ever before. The developers have been able to create large open areas for the player to explore, reminiscent of Poké Park Wii. Pokemon Sword and Shield have the Wild Area, a large open area to explore, and this will be the first mainline Pokemon game to have camera controls, though they are limited to the Wild Area and the rest of the game is structured like a Pokemon game on 3DS. Pokemon Legends Arceus went a step further and made the entire game open world. Kind of. The game is divided into distinct areas, so it's not completely an open world. At least we've got full 360 camera controls now, and it's usable anywhere in the game, even indoors. People have praised this game for being something fresh and new, especially with these big open areas to explore. If Scarlet and Violet are any indication, the developers want to give the player as much freedom to explore the regions moving forward. The game is having a fully interconnected world to explore, kind of like Breath of the Wild. I'm excited to see how the game is going to turn out, and I'm looking forward to playing the game. It feels like the biggest step forward yet, and makes me think that Gen 8 and Legends Arceus were simply testing the waters for Scarlet and Violet. From here it's hard to tell what's next for Pokemon. I honestly can't think of how they can expand upon the gameplay unless they make the game more similar to the anime, but that is up to the developers. I think that about sums up the history of 3D Pokemon games. If there was something I got wrong, please let me know. I'm always looking to improve, and I'll talk again soon.